Hello, I'm filmmaker Archie Wright.
Hello, and I'm ball painter Tim Baker, and this is the Shrovetide podcast.
They all play hard, they all play well, but there's always stories to be told. That is why I have the great honor to say, Archie Wright and Tim Baker, are you ready for the stories? Who will the guest be today? When the ball is robbed in red, white and blue, and the Englishman tries his best, the players get stories, which is why we are here. Archie Wright and Tim Baker. Who is the guest today?
So you're a big Shrove-tider.
Very much so.
Very much, yeah. So what does Shrovetide actually mean to you, and what do you think it means to people of Ashbourne?
Oh, it's everything to people of Ashbourne, and everything to me, really. You just look forward to it from one year to the next, and it takes you over. You can't help it, being Ashburnian and growing up with it, and having parents who were keen, very keen, and grandparents, and going back many years family-wise. You just can't get away from it, nor would you want to.
So having said that, Bev, what was your probably earliest memory of having a brush with Shrovetide?
I wasn't allowed to go till I was 11 years old, because Mum and Dad were avid Shrovetiders. Dad played. He was actually in 3 draws, but he never got a ball. And Mum was really keen, and they wouldn't let me go. Me and my sister had to go to my nana's before we were allowed to go. And when I first went, obviously there weren't as many people in those days as there are now. The hug broke along St John's Street, and I fell to the ground, and they were trampling over me, and somebody got me from behind and lifted me up. And it was Graham Woolley, whose dad's butcher's shop was level with where I fell, funnily enough. But it didn't put me off, I just loved it.
It didn't damp your ardour, did it?
No, not at all, not at all. I just loved it from the first moment. Yeah.
So as you're a very big Downard, I do want to ask, did you ever get asked by any Downards if you wanted to have a goaler ball?
No. Nor would I have expected to be asked, because there are a lot of Downards men who never goal a ball and really deserve to goal one, and I don't think I ever deserved to goal a ball, and I never expected to be asked. But women have, as you know, and one was our distant relation,
Doris
wasn't she?
Muddleston,
Doris Muddleston, the Burtons.
She was the first lady.
Yes, the first one. 3 have goaled it, haven't they?
Right,
Nora Handley was the last one.
The last one, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I wouldn't ever expect that. I just like to follow it and shout for the Downards, obviously.
Of course.
So when you were following it as a young lass, who were the iconic players up and down that you used to see having a good go in the water or in the land?
Well, there were various families, weren't there, that were really involved. And I missed out on Don Lowndes to some extent, an uppard, very strong uppard, because I was too young then. I think he was coming to the end of his playing career then, and same with Guy Harrison, Downard. They were big mates, but when it came to Shrovetide, they were on opposite sides. Yeah. And they are legends, aren't they, of the game? Yeah. And Guy was there when I first went, but he wasn't really taking part like he had done in the past. And then, of course, there was my Uncle Cess, who...
We've just had him mentioned.
Yes, and whom I loved dearly, and who kept my interest going in the game for years. Not that I needed really any help, but that added to it.
You get any good stories about Cess playing Shrovetide? That's Cess Challoner, by the way.
Yeah, well, Stephen's the one to to tell. He's got a photographic memory for everything his dad ever told him, everything he did. But he, all sorts of things. I mean, he ran with the fastest. He was the fastest one to goal the ball, wasn't he, down to Clifton? And then as he got older, he was a marvellous hug player. He could work the ball out of the hug. Nobody dared tackle him.
Dougie Souter just said that about him.
Nobody dared tackle him. Of course, he boxed when he was a boy, young man, as Guy Harrison and Don Lowndes had boxed. Nobody had tackled them in their heyday. And another one who nobody had tackled was Jimmy Grant. Nobody had tackled Jimmy. He'd been in the Marines, hadn't he? And that came into it then, and I think it still does to some extent now. They look after themselves.
Yeah.
Won't let anybody tread all over them.
No.
Yeah, so Cess, it was him who took it through Woolworths that time.
Oh, was it? Right, okay, we just had that. Yeah, we've heard that one before.
Yeah, when everybody was filling the pockets. But, his early playing days, I missed out on those. I only know the stories what Stephen told me about his dad had told him. And he was there and was key to when I later had the ball in a shopping bag. It was him tipping me the wing where the ball was. That you want me to tell you about that?
Let's go for it,
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
The ball was lost on the Park estate. Everybody was looking everywhere for it. And my cousin Alison, Gold and me were amongst the people looking, and then we saw Cess, both of us as uncle. And he went like this and tipped us a wink, and we followed him down Roy Bennett's garden.
Wow.
You remember Dr.
Yeah,
Bennett,
yeah.
also a Burton?
Yeah, of course, one of the clan.
Yes. He wasn't there, of course, Roy Bennett, but his wife, his first wife, was in the kitchen. And at the bottom of the garden was Louis Godfrey, sat with the ball. And there was another bloke with him, I can't remember who that was. And Cess says, well then, Louis, how are we going to get this ball out of here? And Cess says, he knocked on Mrs. Bennett's door and he says, have you got a shopping bag? A big one, Mrs. Bennett. She brought this. They were all the fashion then, nylon stripe bags with the metal handle, so you could get plenty of shopping in and fit a Shrovetide ball in. So in went the ball. Me and Alison whipped off all the outer jumpers and padded it all round, and I set off down the alleyway next to the house with it. But of course everybody knows me, and they did then, so I had no chance, had I? And I got halfway down the alley and not Bob Bates, Ian Bates met me halfway, and there was a crowd of folk behind him, and he tried to grab it off me, and I held on like dear life until Cess came and he got it. But nothing came of that. It was just an incident.
No, it's a good story though, Bev, isn't it?
As many incidents are.
Am I right in saying that you took half enough people going to Surston with the ball?
Yes, I can't really remember much about that, to tell you the truth. Yes, it rings a bell, but who was in the car, I can't remember. And
I heard that you literally jumped in front of the car to try and stop them.
Probably. I used to do
That's
that well, I probably
dedication,
do that sort of thing now, actually. But I know me and Davina, my sister, pulled Mick right off the ball. He'll tell you this if you interview him. At the top of Sandybrook, where the Seven Arches used to be, and just off the Sandybrook Road, he was lying on the ball. And our Steve, my cousin Steve Challoner, was waiting for the ball because they never liked to get the ball. They wanted to run off with it. And Rue was there, and Paddy, what I call the triumvirate, because they were excellent running together. And me and Davina pulled Mick off the ball, and I can remember him saying, what can you do when it's girls?
That's a brilliant story, that one.
And then they went with it, of course. I think Rue took it first because he's got the pace. Then Paddy uphill, because he was brilliant at going uphill, and Stephen had got the stamina. So between them, they got the ball to Clifton.
Brilliant.
And of course, when they got Shrovetide balls, they helped no end of people downwards to get balls on after that, which was how it was then. I mean, there was a camaraderie about the game in those days. Stephen actually went with Gordon Cresswell to goal his ball at Sturson,
Right.
because him and Paul Armstrong, they were together with Gordon, and they thought Gordon deserved a goal.
Wasn't so fiercely contested,
No,
was
there
it?
was a camaraderie. I mean, there would be odd occasions, obviously, when it would get fierce, but, you know, and Cess helped John Mansfield goal his ball up at...
Yes, Cess and John worked together a bit, didn't
Very
they?
friendly, Cess and John, big mates, yeah. Yeah, so that's how it was in that. Although my mum was mad with Cess for doing that because she was a romp down and she didn't like that at all.
It's amazing, isn't it, Bev, though, when you think about our... you and I obviously come from the same family, and the fact that we're from the Burtons, who are wrong couplets,
Yes,
that something
yeah.
like your mum would be a wrong
Well,
downer.
there's a reason for that.
Ah, right.
Because as a girl, she saw the Allens family, who were from Sturson.
Right.
They used to just link arms and walk the ball up the river, and all the Downers men were at war.
Right,
But they
of
were
course.
exempt
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they were farmers.
Yeah, and the Allens were a strong
Yes, they
family,
were.
weren't
Yeah,
they?
they were. My dad was very friendly with the Allens. My dad was friendly with everybody, really. But that was when Doris Muddleston got her ball,
Yes.
when they were superior.
Yeah. Rated to us as well?
Yes, also related to us. And Mum saw her goal, she saw her go in the mill. She said her skirts were floating on top of the water as she went towards because the mill was still there, yeah.
So as a woman then, what do you think, start again. As a woman, do you think women should maybe get more involved in trying to play, or, you know, turning up the ball or goaling the ball?
Yes, but I think it'd be very difficult, wouldn't it, for a woman? I mean, if they have their own game, like footballers,
Right.
you know, they're very successful,
Like a
aren't they?
woman's game? or something,
Yes,
yeah.
but it wouldn't interest me, that wouldn't, because as women's football doesn't really interest me as much as men's, because I've grown up with men's football.
You've grown up with a stereotype.
That's
haven't you?
right, yes, but they do it, and it's great, and but I don't think a woman's game probably would take off. I don't know. Perhaps they will in the future, because I don't
Very
know how to-
tactfully answered that.
But I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to put myself forward for anything. I just like to urge other people to do things.
So tell us a few people in your family then who have goal trophy. You obviously mentioned Cecil and Stephen Chalmers.
Yeah.
Who else in your family has goal balls?
Well, more recently, 3 years ago, my nephew, Nathan Harrison, who is Mark Harrison's son, because he was married to my sister. But before that, going back, Kevin Clark's a Burton. He goaled one. I think Craig Frith is as well, actually,
Right.
through his great-grandmother.
Gosh, there's lots of us.
Yes. Nobby Clark, I think, was through, I forget how, but I think he is on the Burtons. Charlie Burton, of course, was my granddad's brother. He goaled one, so he was like as much related to you as he is to me.
Yeah. Charlie Me.
Yes. Aunt Ethel's son, not David.
Charlie Coxon.
Charlie Coxon, yeah. You know, they've all been downwards. It's funny how the Burtons were upwards, weren't they? Because Joey goaled all those
wrong cupboards.
wrong cupboards. But then my dad was a downward, so Mum, as well as seeing that, wanted to support my dad, obviously. And I think its families have come into it more, haven't they? I mean, like Kevin Clark, his dad, Jimmy Crinko, as we used to call him, in the brown coat, great Shrovetider. He was a downward with my Uncle Edward. He played with my Uncle Edward, who never got a ball. There are many good players who never got a ball, aren't they?
Yes, there are. We've had one or two mentioned.
Yes, I've
Who would you have liked to have seen goal one that probably never ever did?
Kevin Grime.
Yeah.
Used to play hard in the river.
Very hard.
Yeah, can see that white hoodie he used to wear, can
absolutely.
you?
Yes,
yeah, in the river.
Brilliant player,
Yeah, Pete Mellor, he was a good river player. Squirt, as we used to call him.
That's
David Chell,
yeah.
He was related to me on my granny's side. There were quite a few. Usually river players, of course they had to play hard in the river all the time, didn't they? Runners usually got a ball, didn't they?
Yes.
Jonathan Hemstock, the late Jonathan Hemstock. He was with Martin Holland when he goaled the ball. They ran together, and Martin goaled the ball. Jonathan died when he was 36, and he was lovely. He was my sister's partner, and I'd have loved to have seen him goal the ball.
I would have loved to see my uncle Gary Baker goal.
Oh, Gary, of course, yes.
He played
Gary.
For years, ran loads of balls in, but he never was lucky enough.
Yes, no, I agree with you there.
Yeah. Every year I used to hope he would goal it, but he never did.
And he's had his run-ins with bad health, hasn't
he? He's not been well,
so it would have been lovely if he could have gone. Yes, I agree with you there, Tim. You can't think of everybody, can you?
No.
You know, there's been many that should have
goaled one.
Yeah.
So from when you was a young girl to now, how do you think the game has changed?
Well, when I was younger, up until late 20s, there weren't so many people came to the game, and they would come to watch it thrown up, a lot of people, and then drift off. And if the ball broke, for instance, as it had done on that occasion up the Park Estate, and nobody knew where the ball was, some would think, oh, we'll go home, and have a cup of tea, and they dropped off. Whereas later on, in the late 80s, perhaps 90s, when the rugby club took hold of the game, it was said that you couldn't play for Ashburn Rugby Club unless you were an uppard, and they did influence a lot of young men to be upwards, because if you think about it, once the maternity home shut, every child was born at the City Hospital in Derby. There should have been a lot more downwards than there are. But
people just go from families now.
Now, yes, I think that's one thing you should follow. They do follow the families now, yeah, more so. Yes, which I did, I suppose, because of mum and dad being down as Uncle Seth being a downer. There's no way I could ever be an uppard, was there?
Well, me myself, I was born at maternity home, upwards. My family allegiance, the Burtons were all, as yours, were all Ronk upwards.
Yeah.
But living on Clifton Road, the people I hung around with at school, you just sort of, I went down as because my friends did, really. Yeah. It's only when you look back now and you look over your family tree and I am proud of what the Burtons achieved at Sturston. You sort of evaluate it a bit, don't you? But for me, I think the game itself is bigger than the sides, putting it bluntly, really. But,
the game is most important. I think that, Tim, that's more important than all this making one side bigger than the other and being determined that this list of players will get a goal.
So your son Jason plays Shrovetide.
Yes.
Would you like to see him goal a ball?
Well, of course, but whether he will or not, you've got to have a lot of luck, especially if you're not a runner. I think you've got to have a lot of luck. I mean, it's different on the upwards side. As I said, they have a list of players who they want to goal balls, and they just push it up there. So boring, in my opinion. Just push the ball up the fields in a hug, and they don't like the ball loose. And I don't know whether he ever will. I mean, I'd love it if he did. It'd be the icing on the cake. But how he plays the game is more important, really.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and he plays hard.
Do you think it's more important to play because you want to be a hard player than play because you want to go one?
No, I think they all want to go one.
I think it's everybody's dream in Ashbourne.
Yeah.
Come on, Archie, it's yours as well, if you're honest.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, you never know. You can come across the ball in the most unusual circumstances.
That's happened to me, Beth.
Yeah, go tell us about you.
Well, it was on the documentary, but in a nutshell, me and my friend were walking home in 1985 on the Tuesday.
Yeah.
And parents had said, you've got to leave at 5. Like, you were told you've got to leave at 7, you weren't allowed to go for a certain age.
Yeah.
You've got to leave at 5. And them days, you just had the ball all the time. So my friend and I, the ball had gone missing. And a friend of mine, Simon, and I were walking home, and we decided for whatever reason to walk down that alley at the side of St Oswald's Church, that little jitty.
Oh, yeah.
That comes out by School Lane Bridge.
Yeah.
And there, stuffed in the hedge, was the ball. It was painted, it was all, I can see it in my mind's eye, and we just absolutely crapped ourselves and ran away. There was no one there, Bev. There was no spectators, nothing. And I've often thought what we would have done. We weren't brave enough to have taken it to Clifton, but what would we have done if we'd have just took that ball home and never said anything? How dishonest that would have been.
Yeah.
It's a true story.
But I bet you're glad though you didn't take it home.
Absolutely, it was not in the spirit of the game. I mean, you know, we were really young and we just thought at any point there was going to be like 50 great big men would have just jumped on us, and but we just ran away, and it's a bit silly really, but we were only 12 at the time.
Do you know what happened to it after that?
I bet you'll remember, it was the year that those Scotsmen took it and hid it and didn't know what to do with it. Can you remember?
Yes, I can,
yeah. And everybody was looking high and low for it.
Yeah.
And
what happened to it in the end?
it was given back to Phil Drabble and thrown to the naturalist off the telly.
Yes, I know, yeah.
So obviously, Bev, it would be very wrong not to mention your sister Davina, because you was always with her at Shrovetide. Do you have any good stories about her?
Yes, I do, actually. On one occasion, my cousin Steve, who's really like our brother, we all grew up together, ran off with the ball and took it onto the old golf course. He was wont to do that because then somebody would come down and word his dad up, and his dad would help him to get it into the plinth. Do you remember the plinth? Well, it's still there, isn't it? And it was very difficult to go in those days because they'd hug it round the plinth, and certain people who'd already got one had stopped players getting a ball, which I used to think was horrible because you don't stop other people. Anyway, I was up on the golf course, and Mick Bettridge Senior was with him, Junior rather. Mick Bettridge Junior was with him, and he and Davina brought the ball down because they'd gone up to found Steve. They brought the ball down with Davina the ball up a jumper, and Mick had got his arm round her like this. And of course they just sauntered up to the plinth, but just as they got right up to the plinth, the jumper came away from the ball, and they could see the ball, must have been still white or whatever, and the hug all descended on him, and she was trapped in the middle of the hug, and I was shouting, Davina, Davina! And Paddy Kerr was a young boy then, and he went in and got her out for me.
Oh wow, that was good of him. So do you think Davina might have got that?
I don't think Mick had got one then, I'm not sure.
No, Mick got his in 87.
Yeah, so no, it would have been Mick's. No, Davina wouldn't have. She's like me, she just loved the game.
So Bev, the camera's there, isn't it, Archie? We always ask people this. You've got the public's attention. What would you like to say to the public about Shrovetide?
Well, I'd like us to keep it going. I'd like it to be played fairly in the future so that people don't want to drop off. And I mean, Downers did consider dropping off last year in particular, and some said we should just walk onto the Shawcroft folder arms and say, get on with it.
Oh.
So I'd like it to become fairer, more even. And I was encouraged last year when we won, this year when we won, that there were more youngsters coming through who were Downers. And long may it continue.
Long may it continue, yes.
There's a town still plays this glorious game, though 'tis but a little spot, and year by year the contest fought from the field that's called Shawcroft. Then friend meets friend in friendly strife, the leather fort again, and they play the game right manfully in snow, sunshine, or